Hi, welcome to Tarot Time. Welcome to the live people and those that are watching as a video. We'll get started in just a moment. What we do is we use tarot and other divination tools, as well as sometimes direct channeling to get information about the coming week, what's going on in the world around us, in our community, in our lives, maybe. And we're going to end up by doing a little bit of a little energy work, an energy transmission to send prayers. There's a lot going on with the weather, with the climate, or the weather mostly, not just in the U.S. All across the world is having crazy weather right now. And I'll dive a little bit into that as part of the discussion. So we often have a little discussion. It's kind of a community hangout. So I'll some comments that I see, I'll display. We could talk about things, toss around some ideas. There's so much going on. There's so much changing. Things are really, really crazy right now. So it's good to kind of get together with like-minded community and connect. We also do a meditation card. So that's kind of what's, loosely on the agenda. I'm just going to say a few quick hellos and dive on in. And it's Sunday morning. It's snowing. It looks like it's doing its thing out there right now. I've got about 2 or 3 inches down, but it's going to, this afternoon, it's going to start to come down a lot harder than it is. So you guys that are in the Northeast, we're up next. People in the South, you're still getting, mixed weather, some of it very dangerous. So, we'll talk a little more about that. Anyway, who's here? Hi, Kaya. Hi, Hi, Kathleen. It's all going to get better. Yes, it is. And everything is great. It's perfect. Good morning, Virgo girl. I was almost a Virgo boy, but wrong one. I was almost a Virgo boy, but I missed it by a day. I was born on the 24th of September. No snow here. No, yeah. No rain either. Yeah, the walk of peace. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, Doreen, for doing that. So were the Tibetan monks down there, or anyway, let's see. Lots of snow and sleet still falling. Sleet and snow is fine. We don't want freezing rain by you. And one of the things that I said on some of my posts on the weather is that some areas that in the south that are expecting freezing rain will get more sleet because there's just so much colder. It's 7 degrees out. It's very unusual that it snows when it's this cold, where so much moisture can overrun this. So anyway, well, I love talking about the weather. So anyway, what else is going on? Yes, thank you. Hey, Slugly, and happy heavenly birthday to your dad, Janice. Absolutely. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Miss J. Welcome. And yep, your dad is watching out for us. Sheets of ice. Oh, so yeah, the Carolinas, even down to northern Georgia, with the cold air damming east of the Appalachians, could get quite the ice storm. Yeah, so we've been sending prayers to turn anywhere that's ice, if it's on the southern area of the ice forecast, that it gets warm enough for playing rain. If it's more on the northern side, that it's sleet or snow. Freezing rain is the dangerous one. It's beautiful, if you ever go out when the sun shines after an ice storm where all the trees are glazed. It's beautiful, but it's not good. To quote our great president, it's not good. Great snowy rising to you, Yvonne. Yes, down by you guys, you may get a little bit of sleet or even freezing rain down there. We'll see how it all plays out. Hi, Millie and Felicia again. Yeah, I'm gonna have breakfast later. All right. I know I missed a few people, and if I miss you, yeah. Yeah, it started earlier than I thought it was going to start around 10 this morning. It started around 6 this morning. So this shows how strong this moisture push is. So we're going to get into cards in just a minute. There's 33 on, so people are coming. Oh, hi, Colleen, and you're welcome. Yeah, they're something else, right? Quite good. Yeah, and up in Troy, you're getting 7 degrees with fine snow. Yeah, the snow might get a little icy later, even up here. I don't think we'll get sleet this far north. I'm in the Phoenicia area. Um, but sometimes when there's so much warmer, overrunning cold air, the ice gets a little bit of an icy quality, even though it still officially snows. They feel a little bit harder when it's your skin when that happens. I mean, I'm hoping that later we get those big, fluffy flakes because when it's so cold, there's very little water content in the snow, so it piles up very quickly. Dry snow has much less water equivalent than wet snow, so if it was 30 degrees out and the same and an inch fell, there'd be about 7 or 8 inches if the snow was wet and closer to 20 inches if the snow was dry. It's going to pile up really, really fast in these parts. So since I'm talking about the weather, what do we want to say? It's we'll send a lot of prayers. I've been seeing a lot on social media. A lot of people are believing that they're seeing more chemtrails or aerosol chemical spraying in the atmosphere. That could be. Wouldn't put it past them, right? We know there's nefarious activities going on, and we know that they can at least modify weather to some degree. Yeah, from what I've seen, and I can only go what I've seen about that here in the Hudson Valley. All I've seen is just regular contrails sort of interacting with a moister upper atmosphere that's often happens ahead of a big storm with a lot of moisture. Like even days ahead, you get these fine cirrus clouds. Sometimes you get the halos around the sun, which is really cool before these storms. And then then when the jets fly into that atmosphere, it condenses. It's called contrails, right? I remember in the 60s, I used to ask my mom, it's like, why did the planes make all the lines in the sky? I mean, unless they were chemtrailing in the mid 1960s. That is a real phenomena. But that said, well, I'll put it this way: everything that's going on can be explained by science, but that doesn't take away from the possibility that there's more going on, that there is some geoengineering or some chemical spraying that's happening. So people have been saying that, and my feeling about that is if you have high powered binoculars and you believe that they're chemtrailing the sky, see what's producing them, and you're going to find almost all the time it's commercial jet airliners that are producing that. And I know I've done it myself. I want to know what the answers is. So could it be that chemicals are concealed within jet fuel and that just the commercial jets are spraying chemicals into the upper atmosphere that are seeding the clouds or cooling the sun? It's possible. I'll put it that way. Now, the other side of this, I'm going to get into tarot in just a second, guys, is that we just had a very intense geomagnetic storm. The sun has unleashed a lot of photonic energy in the solar flare that charges up the atmosphere in the earth. Then there was a coronal mass ejection that hit about 26 hours later. That's ionic plasma. That was a boom. That was a real kaboom. It was extremely high density plasma, and I actually felt it. And it hit about 6 to 8 hours before forecast. So I know it wasn't like a placebo thing. That can happen also, right? It's like you expect something. Our minds are very creative, but since it happened so far ahead of when I was expecting it, and then I look back and it's within 10 minutes. So that adds a lot of energy. That charges up the atmosphere. You put more energy into a system, it excites that system. It makes storms stronger. It brings more cold air south. It brings more warm air north. So while we're getting this intense ice, and by the way, from the perspective of a meteorologist, there's nothing unnatural about this, just from the perspective of science and a meteorologist. And again, if you believe that there's chemtrails or something else going on, I'm not trying to dissuade you from that belief. I just want, being that I'm a scientist as well as a mystic, that I bring both to the table, I want to put out all the facts, and then you're intelligent. You can do some more research and come up with your own conclusions. But if this is partially man enhanced, I'll put it that way, we have to look at what the end game is. Why would they do this? And it's usually about power. It's about money. Sometimes about invoking fear, whatever. But from a meteorological standpoint, it's classic overrunning. It's bigger and it's more grand than usual. It's a record event. But everything can be explained by nature. So I'll just leave it at that. What do you guys have to say about the chemtrail, natural or man-made? What do you guys have to say? Blustery whiteout in the city. My other guy will not be silenced. Yeah, you create imbalance in the Earth's going to counterbalance that, whether that's natural imbalance from solar activity, and the sun is what drives the climate anyway, or if it's that we're, we're pumping water into the atmosphere. Every time we drive a car, CO2 is a greenhouse gas. H2O is a stronger greenhouse gas when it becomes vapor. And then there's more water to precipitate. So, that plays into it also. We're burning fossil fuels. That's millions of years of solar energy locked up into the earth, and then we combust it. So there's actually ambient heat that we're adding to the atmosphere. Humans are very tiny when, compared to the whole globe. So it's not really moving the needle a lot, that aspect of it, just a tiny bit. But that's going on. So we're adding energy to the system. When there's a solar flare, that adds a lot of energy to the system. And frankly, I'm surprised that we didn't get a big earthquake, within 72 hours after the solar flare. Happily surprised, I'll put it that way. It could still come because there's still that extra energy in the earth. But I think in this case, it's manifest more in the atmosphere than the earth. At least that's what I think. So what do you guys have to say? So Dorian says man-made. And Betsy says both. That's fair. Hello, Michael. Colleen says man-made. So we have the votes. Most of the votes are for man-made. Can't wait for spring. Groundhog Day is next. Get ready. Yeah. I mean, I like the snow personally. So yeah. But do a little bit more research and understand also that there's a program for everything. The powers that be want us to chase down the wrong rabbit holes. So I have a feeling that there's CIA or government helps to spread these conspiracy theories. Some of them are real, some of them aren't. And I've been at this since the late 1970s, looking into government conspiracies, global conspiracies, and even as a meteorology major, I graduated in 1980. Even back then, I was looking at signs of like man-made. I mean, we knew about cloud seeding. There was geoengineering happening in the 70s, happening in the 60s. It's possible that they were doing that in the 60s. I don't know, but I do remember, like, over the ocean too, because I saw them at the beach. I remember asking my mom, why are these planes making the white lines behind them? I'd say that, and they would take a good anywhere from 3 to 20 minutes for those lines to fully dissipate out. Now, of course, today we have heavier jet fuels, so it could take longer, but there could also be aluminum compound, silver iodide. There could be all kinds of chemicals. And, another argument for those of you that think that this is man-made, a lot of people are reacting to the impurities in the atmosphere. They're getting a lot of like autoimmune stuff and everything. So, I have a feeling that it goes on, but like I said, nature can explain everything that's happening with the weather here in the States. It's not just the States. Australia, 40 centigrade plus. So what is that in Fahrenheit? 40 to about 110, I think, in Fahrenheit or thereabouts. So Australia's getting a record heat wave. There's that Medicane, or I don't know if it's a true Medicane, which is basically a mini hurricane that can form in the Mediterranean Sea. I think it was just a regular mid-latitude storm that became extratropical in the warm Mediterranean waters. But Yeah, I saw some pictures out of Sicily. It looked like a mini Japan after the big tsunami. Not quite as bad as that, but it had the look of that a tsunami hit there. Then there's in Kamchatka Peninsula, there's been record snows. In Moscow, there's been record snows. There's been record floods. So everything's very, very amped up energetically in the world. And my take, my final thought about if it's man-made or not, if they are enhancing this storm, they're wasting a ton of our money and a ton of their time and manpower doing that, because the sun's already amped up the storm, which is why I forecasted when we were still only supposed to get a glancing blow that we'd have a major northeast snowstorm. Because I know when there's more energy into a system and it makes the storm stronger, from a meteorology training, they try to cut the gradient or try to move closer to their upper air support, which is generally west to northwest of where the system is. So that means that all the action is north and west of what the original forecast was, because forecasting models do not take space weather into account. So I do. So I'm able to, and I also use my intuition. So I'm able to get, usually, not always, but usually more accurate forecast for you than the National Weather Service. So anyway, so what else are you guys saying? And then we're going to go into our tarot stuff. I've not been feeling well. Yeah, I've been dealing with things too. And hello, Jake, welcome. It's part of the change. It has to happen. I agree 100% with that. It has to happen. Energy has to play out the way it plays out. It's predictable. Energy can't be gained or lost. It can only be changed. So you can change the frequencies of energy, which is what the master teachers do in a channel. They up they up that, and people feel that. What else? And happy Sunday, Nancy. I think that's Nancy. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've had good days and bad days. I haven't been feeling great also. You're right. And hi, Drew. What's Drew saying? And you should be saying this. I just heard today a leaked video secretly recording has the globalists at Davos saying on cam that they're injecting aerosols. Yeah, there's definitely something to it. My only feeling about that, and again, I'm not trying to debunk these theories. I do believe that there's something going on. I just think people need to be sure. And I just see on the internet so often that normal contrails, that they're being mistaken for chemtrails, and they're usually in cities not far from airports, and air traffic controllers will have the planes flying certain trajectories, and jets can make those crisscross patterns. So it's a little confusing. So my thing is, be sure. And then if you're sure, then we don't look like fools, right? It's if we're not calling obvious, contrails, chemtrails, then we're more powerful. We have more, knowledge is power. So be sure. And then if we're sure, and then we know, we can prove, or we can at least validate. I don't know if you can prove it. We can validate that this is not normal. This is not happening. And I've watched chemtrails. One Christmas morning, I think they thought everybody was inside opening presents, but I went outside. It was about 50 degrees on Christmas morning. And I just watched the planes. They were different kinds of planes. They were below the cirrus level, not much. They crisscrossed, and I watched. In 10 minutes, the pattern just turned into a cloud. It wasn't the lines in the sky, with those fuzzy tendrils. It turned into a cloud. And I was like, that is chemtrailing. That was true chemtrailing. At least that's what I think. I don't know that. But anyway, let's do some tarot. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Yeah, me too. Yeah. And Mary saying, I never think that they're walking their dogs now. Our meals expectation. I can hear the dogs telepathic like, F no. Dogs like the snow, though. Not all dogs, but some dogs like that. Sleeping way too much. Yeah, I haven't been sleeping much. The last night I slept about 4 or 5 hours. With everything going on with solar flares and planetary aspects, I was exhausted last week. And I've been seeing too many chemtrails down here. Yeah. The solar activity, planetary aspect. We've had, very like like once in a decade to once in a generation planetary aspects in the month of January. It's with the at one point every planet was aspected to something. The four outer planets were all aspected with the Saturn Neptune conjunction, sextiling on one side Pluto, the other side Uranus, and then all the inner planets in a conjunction. And then Mercury's a little bit off, so it wasn't always exact, but it's pretty darn close. And then Jupiter in opposition, so it's like all going on there. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. And it's the wind. It's coming with the. Yeah, it's not supposed to get that windy up here. And Yolanda's saying you've been working a lot of heavy energy, and I've been carrying. Well, do that. So, these solar flares, they're energetic. They affect the collective fields. They affect the atmosphere. They affect the earth. And everybody was like complaining that when the CME hit, that the interplanetary magnetic field had a northern rather than a southern tilt for the what that means if you chase auroras, that's BZ positive. That's what the interplanetary magnetic field is. And when it's positive, it's not conducive to coupling with the incoming energy, so it doesn't produce the auroras. It doesn't knock out the satellites either. Yet we had auroras down to Florida. People are like, oh, if only it was negative. It's like we would have had the biggest show, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, if only it was negative, you might not have an internet. You might not be able to use your cell phone because the satellites may have been fried. So, God's spirit or source or the extraterrestrials, whoever you want to give credit to, saved our butts once again. People, and I did a couple of videos, and I just think people have no idea that we came that close to a major global disaster. Now, this was never going to be that proverbial doomsday flare. It was never going to be that the whole planet would lose power for a year or two. That could still be coming. That's not what this was going to be. But if it was BZ negative, we would have had, some of the grids may have gone out, like in 1979, I think, when the whole Canadian grid went out. That was a really powerful arm around then. I think it's 79, or is that 72? 72 is a different one. 72 is an X20 flare. This is an X1.9. Of course, the Earth's magnetic field is weaker than it was in 1972 by about 5% even, which does make a big difference. But that was a BZ positive also, and that caused a lot of havoc. Stefan Burns calls that the lucky storm. So maybe he'll have a word for this storm also. This was like another lucky storm that we just had. So let's do our meditation card. Yeah, exactly. It was, I'm sure some satellites went down. My cell service got slower. My internet got slower. And to me, that means that some of those Starlinks did sustain some damage. I think they got them back online quick enough. So, and from my perspective, it's freaking cloudy here. Like, except for the October 2024, the three biggest solar events and best auroras of solar cycle 25, it was cloudy here. The great American total eclipse that went out to Lilydale, it was cloudy. It's like, why do I live in upstate New York and miss out on all these things? But the October one was nice. That's kind of my consolation prize. That was a nice aurora. So meditation card. Now that we're almost 25 minutes in, we are probably having more solar storms after this. I don't think the solar cycle's done with us. But the sun is quieter now. But that could change in a matter of a couple of days. I'm looking at March. I mean, February, we have the eclipse season. We have other aspects. But I'm thinking March is going to be something really big, with the solar weather, maybe right around the new moon then, around the middle of the month. We'll see. That's a little ways off. And certainly we could get something eventful in February also. All right. So for a meditation card, I like this, the sun card. We've been talking about the sun. Yeah, let's get a nice warmth. So the sun card, yeah, that's good energy, right? Yeah, we need the energy of the sun, the good energy of it. As a meaning, that could be, you finding your place in the sun. That could be positive energy. Yeah, romantic. There's a baby on the horse for anybody that's with us today and wants to get pregnant. That could be a good omen for you. But I feel like, as I'm looking at this, I feel like part of this is connecting with extraterrestrials, or interdimensionals or ascended masters. And the way that I meditate with tarot, and I recommend, go into your presence like any other meditation. You're not your name or your body, your energy, your frequency. If you want to transcend and go multi-dimensional or into the quantum field, as Joe Dispenza says, you can't be a somebody, you have to be a nobody. And what happens when you lose that sense of self-identity, like I'm not Adam, I'm energy, I'm occupying this physical vessel and having these experiences, then I'm not so hyper focused on the physical, and then my attention starts to blend more with the ethereal. So we're always in the quantum field anyway, it's just where our attention's focused. So you get really relaxed, and then just gauge what you're feeling. Then in your mind, step into the card. This is the Hanson Roberts deck I'm using today. So you can find your own sun card and use that. Step into the card. The first thing is gauge what you're feeling. Then look around and see what else you can see. What do you hear? What do you smell, taste? What do you know? What spirit's saying? Are there any spirit animals? And talk to your guides and see if you get any messages. And the sun's about creativity, so it could be messages about what you're creating in your life now, whether it be creating from the perspective of an artist or from this perspective of law of attraction, manifestation work. What are you creating? Because we're creating it all every day anyway, personally and collectively. And when we start to become aware of that and the dynamics behind it, then we can change what we create. But you have to understand that what's going on, the dynamics behind it. And when most humans are 95 to 97% subconscious, they have no idea what they're creating, because they're not conscious of it. It's just the programming, just the loops going over and over again. They become energetic loops in our lives, and they create the same scenarios. It's like the same person, different face over and over again. So I think that's part of the message of the sun card. Let's see, what are you guys saying? Also, you got a lot of energy. So I want to go back here. So hi, Sheridan. And I'm an energy reader, but cannot read the tarot cards save my life. I'm also be told to tell that I'm an O negative bloodline, therefore light work or archangel. They say the negative, whether it's O negative or whatever, because you don't have the rhesus monkey factor. They say that's pure extraterrestrial. So instead of trying to read the cards, my suggestion, since you're an energy reader, is just connect with the energy. If you see the tarot card, just try to feel your heart open and your auric field blending with the aura of the card, or stepping into the meditation. And don't try to read it, just connect with the energy and see what you get that way. And I think if you do that over time, you'll be an amazing card reader. And Kathleen saying, I'm snowed in, the snow drifts is completely blocked my store. Yeah, I say you've got to be either west or south of us. Thank God I'm in the southeast of the white squirrel. Good camo. Oh, white squirrel. Yeah, definitely. All right. In the end, these are, that's another thing with these solar flares. It's this extra energy that's coming in. And I found that it's not only activating like our like it's like code frequencies. It's not only helping to activate our higher gifts and activate DNA, but it's also scouring out some of the lower entities, that dwell in the earth plane also, and the lower fourth dimension as well. So it's just kind of activating a lot of these lower entities because it's purging it. And I've been seeing it in dreams. And the day after the solar flare, I think before the CME hit, I woke up with a bleeding gash in my ankle with bruises on my legs. So yeah, it's working on trying to clear these dark energy. It's just part of our collective ascension that we're in. The sun and us are all connected. We're connected with everything. So the Coyote Moon, Yolanda saying, yeah, these heavy dark energy, it's not pleasant. I don't know what you're going through, but dang, it can be very ugly. So yeah, try to hold your state, take deep breaths and go with the flow and do your heart-brain coherence. Hearts cannot be programmed. You can always find that place of positivity in the heart. Sometimes, it's harder than others. There's days the last thing I want to do is to feel positive. So I get that also, but it usually just takes a few minutes, and hearts can't be programmed. They know only love. So I already got card number 1 popped out, so I'll pull a couple more. And yeah, it's just part of transition and change. And if there's been a lot of darkness suppressed beneath the surface, it's our own shadows. Socially, it's collective shadows. The planet herself absorbs a lot of the negative energies, and when higher energies hit it, it releases it that way. So it has to be released. It has to express in some way before it exits our systems. And we have to, the more we can be in our heart and presence, the more it can more gracefully leave. If we get really caught up emotionally with it, we make it harder on ourselves. And then again, we're human. So we can't help but to react or respond to things. So what you do is don't try to stop reacting. Instead, step back and be the observer of your reactions. This is Joe Dispenza 101, by the way, for those that love that teacher as much as I do. You observe your reaction. Don't try to squash them. Observe them. And in that moment, you're just observing the program. You're observing the effects. You're not the program anymore. And if you keep doing that through the power of repetition, you start transcending that programming, and you start to figure out ways to clear yourself and ways to work on your own ascension. So let me pull a couple more. You have a lot to say, guys. Thanks for keeping the conversation alive here. And Betsy saying, they woke up middle night last week because of some negative energy in the room, and it was some kind of negative elemental. Yeah, they're very active now because of all the energy. So I shielded my daughter. Yeah, you can shield yourself. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's part of the metaphysical nature of existence. The more in the positive light you are, the less they can affect you. There's some people, religious people too, that their faith is so unwavering that just through their prayers and their beliefs in God or Jesus or Buddha or whatever religion it is so strong that they shield themselves from the lower entities that way. So, whatever works, if it works, use it, right? It's part of my martial arts training. Bruce Lee, one of his quotes is, absorb what is useful, disregard the rest. Some techniques work for me, some don't. If they don't work for me, I discard them. They may work for you, though, so I don't call them trash just because they don't work with me. That's called narcissism. Yeah, I've been accused of that, too. Since I've been on YouTube, I've been accused of everything. Pretty much everything, yep. Let me see. Apparently I have both TDS and I'm a Libby at the same time. So I have TDS. I'm a liberal. One person, was like the same person in the same thread. On one comment is like that I'm misogynistic. And then in the same thread that I put women on pedestals. It's like people are just too nuts for me now. I like the snow. The snow is thousands of crystals, billions of crystals. Ice crystals are generally six-sided, so it's amplifying things. And if you look at the Schumann resonance, I may do a post about this. It's like all over, like, there's these creators at every little spike on the Schumann resonance. They try to pull in comments and monetization. So there's these white spike outs. And that's from the snow. It was snowing in Tomsk, where they take the best measurements is in Tomsk, Russia. Best place to take the pulse of the Earth. It's near the Arctic Circle. There's other Schumann resonance reporting stations. They just don't know how to read it. That local phenomena is going to cause those spikes. There are ascension signatures in them, but they're usually pointing to the wrong thing anyway. But the point being is that snow has a lot of energy, so it enhances things because it's crystalline. There's crystals, quartz crystals, and technology to enhance the the power flows. Same thing in nature. So this amps up the fields, all the snow right now. Anyway, 3 cards read, and I got my first card. So let's get the next 2. And when they fall out by themselves, that's spirit, right? Well, it could be Adam being clumsy, but you know what I'm saying. And I like the card that fell out. That was good. Yeah, these are good cards. The first one that fell out, that's the 8 of Cups. 8 of Cups. Yeah, that's basically, that's very spiritual energy. The figure here, they're leaving the cups behind, seeking for something higher and greater. And I think it's just showing that a lot of people, we try to focus on this week or the next couple of weeks with this energy, like what's going on in the world, what's going on in our life. To me, this is like people seeking answers. More people are becoming aware that there's a lot of BS out there, that they're being played by the governments, by the corporations, by the media and stuff. And people are seeking more spiritual answers. So that's a good thing. The Hermit card reverse makes you feel like that those that the cabal, the globalists, whatever you want to call them, they know that there's solar flare. It's like that's what really gets me about, like, if they really are enhancing the storm through chemtrailing or HARP technology or whatever that they're using. It's like the sun did that for them. You don't need to do anything. The sun did your job for you. It's already amped up enough. But to me, this is making me feel like be careful what and who you follow. The Hermit card is wisdom from above, but it's reversed. I mean, it's like false prophets, and I'm not saying in the biblical sense. In the I mean, partly, but not in the sense that if you don't follow the word of Jesus to the letter, you're a false prophet. Not that sense. More like the powers that want humanity to be under their control, to be enslaved. There may be teachers that appear to be spiritual that can manipulate energy enough to make you feel like you're having some kind of a spiritual experience in their presence. But watch out for those coyotes. Those are more manipulative people, and they'll always reveal themselves early on. Something they say, something they do, something like that, something that you feel, especially if you're in your heart. But when you're enveloped in a lot of fear and anger and stuff like that, you're very easy to control, and you're not getting information for your higher self. It's more like your survival instincts are so strong that you're not really getting like the good stuff. It's more like the survival, instinct, right? So be careful who you follow, who you listen to. A lot of false information. And then with the Knight of Cups, that's good because that's movement in a more positive direction. Knights move. Cups is more about good emotions. I just feel like that there are people out there that are offering some solutions to humanity, basically to the government. Not necessarily taking them. I have a feeling this can also relate to some peace movements as well. Maybe there's going to be more meetings. Maybe in Ukraine, Russia. Down in more in the I don't know why I said the Baltic area. Is there any that's up? That's not down. But the Baltic area popped up in my mind. That's Eastern Europe, Scandinavia, that area. But the South is like Israel, Palestine. But I think that it could be that President Trump, travels again. Maybe with a portable hospital facilities with him. But he's doing it, right? He's traveling, and whether you believe him or not, he's doing something out there and trying to make a difference, right? And when it comes to like politics, whether it's the Americas or wherever else it is, we sometimes have to remember, if you love or hate what's going on, that collectively we created this. This is like what we have to go through in order to maybe ascend, in order to maybe dispel illusion, in order to understand more of the corruption and the layers of corruption that exists in government, and how they're really all connected to it in some way or another. I feel like my guards are saying, even if Trump has a different agenda, he couldn't be president if there wasn't some affiliation with the powers, with the cabal or deep state powers, basically. So, I mean, in my heart, I believe that he believes he's there to make a difference, but we all have our own opinions about that. But I think one of the things that we can have our opinions and our beliefs, and we can let our voices be known, absolutely. But stay in the heart. Try to stay out of that division mentality. There's a herd mentality that goes on. The people, based on our survival instincts, want to be part of a group, whether it's the MAGA group, whether it's the Democrat group, whether it's the conspiracy theorist group. Those that program us know that. They know that we want to be part of a group. We want to belong. It's just a survival instinct. But when you get into your heart, you find you connect with spirit, and that's your greatest source of survival anyway. You transcend the physical. So anyway, I think there's a lot of that energy coming up this week. I think the main thing for us is listen to your higher wisdom. Be discerning whether people are talking about they're chemtrailing and enhancing a storm or whatever it is. Whatever it is, there can be so many examples. Use some discernment, do some research, check in with your guidance, and the more in your heart you are, the less you can be programmed. How many times have I said that? So what else are you guys saying? I'm going to do some other divination. Yeah, so the one that fell out was the Eight of Cups. So that's really the main card, and that's a transcendence card. The number 8 is Saturn energy. It can be very successful energy. It can be about karma, law in general. But in the tarot, it's like the figures going to the mountains, they're leaving what they built in their lives for something higher and greater. And I think this is one of our main messages. It's to not be so triggered by what's going on in the earth, but try to go to that place of that creates things. Anyway, seek out on a regular plane. Yeah, they try to do that also, absolutely. And you're trying really hard to see others as human. No red, no. Yeah, that's a good thing to do. Try to do that. Yeah. They will never see the light. Well, some will, some won't. I agree. Some people just aren't at that level that they're capable of really seeing the light, and we have to just we have to just we just have to be able to what's the right word be okay with that, right? That some people are never going to see the light. See, Sheridan, I believe Jesus did exist. I just think that it all got distorted what really happened back in that time. But to your argument, there's really no solid proof that he did exist. There's no solid historical proof that he actually did exist. So it's a debatable topic for sure. And all created to entrap humanity. Well, certainly, man-made religion that is a programming, right? So it's good to be aware of that. And MDR Mary saying it's just a show to me. However, I'm seeing people fracture into mental illness. Me too, especially artists and creative. The whole tribe has lost their mind. Yeah. And then corruption and unethical behaviors created to undermine our strength, individuality, and power. We must stand together and fight the dark forces. Yeah. So we fight. We identify and we vanquish it from within, and then we start to fight it from without. Right. But yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's strength in numbers. The programming tries to divide and separate. So we need to do the opposite. like, oh, you love Trump. Well, I hate Trump, but we can still be brothers or sisters. That's just politics. That's not our heart. That's not our soul. That's not our being. That's just something that's temporarily going on in our world right now, right? So good idea. Yeah. So anyway, so what else? Corruption. I'll have a couple more comments, and it's about 15 minutes to do a few other things. As long as you don't have a horse, anything, it's part of the dark side, not here to ward off anything. Quite the contrary, sends out bad energy. Is that like the eye of horse, like the Egyptian symbol of wisdom? I think that's what we're talking about, right? To the cat, and thank you, Millie. Also, compassion is important because we may have been there once too, and not developed and not developed a spiritual ego, thinking we are superior. It's a test for us to and how we respond until we can. That's a great take on things. I like that. So I have a few other things. I want to see if I can get most of my divination cards. Just get a quick meaning for each. Also. Yeah, fear is a big thing, for programming. I want to say, I'm hearing like, don't fear the reaper in my mind. Okay, I get it, spirit. It starts with our fear of dying, right? And when you lose the fear of dying, you lose the fear of living, because they're two parts of the same process. And once that happens, you're right pickings for the programming. So, we have to accept the fact that we will die, that everything dies and then gets reborn, because everything dies, but nothing dies, right? So you can look at that two ways. It's just the body. It's just the meat suit. It's like, I'm done with this meat suit. Let me rest for a while, then I'll come back in another meat suit. Or maybe I'll do all my work in this lifetime and descend. I won't have to come back. Even better. Even better scenario. All righty then. So this is the Native American tarot. And this is the card that we got. Horse thief, 7 of swords or 7 of hatchets in that. So yeah, don't let them steal your soul, right? The programming can do that. When you're locked into fear, you can be controlled. That's how cults work also, by the way, or one of the ways they work. I had an experience when I was younger. I saw through it, thankfully. But this is somebody that was very charismatic and knew how to manipulate energy, so they make you feel like you were in the presence of something greater than yourselves. But I smelled it, in my mind. I smelled something was wrong, and I knew it, and I found out later on this was a really bad dude, really bad. So that one way or another, they're always trying to program you, and I'm becoming somewhat of a public figure, and I see right through you. People will send me things. Some people try to email me, and I know that they're just trying to hook me into their programming, and I'm like, no, ain't gonna work. I'm in my heart. It's not gonna work. I'm in my heart. I'm in my power. Just recently I had to clear, another psychic attack, black magic or stuff like that. It's like, I've gotten good at that. Done. Like, I'm in the heart. That's not going to work. Sorry, guys. But the karma's real. If anybody tries to do that, the karma's real that they receive. So I've also have, did I talk enough about this card? Yeah, this can be about being ripped off. That's what the 7 of Swords are. And it says horse thief. Horse is power. Horse represents power to the native people. Freedom also. Horse thief. I get it. Don't let them steal your power. Don't let them steal your freedom. I have a whole playlist on how to do heart-brain coherence. And you know what? There's other ways to engage your heart. That's just one practice. There's breath techniques. And if heart-brain coherence doesn't speak to you, try this. Very, very simple. In spirituality, nothing's complicated. Everything is very, very simple. Get relaxed, get meditative. Feel your heart center. When you inhale, feel your heart expand, just like your lungs expand. it's working with nature. It's working with rhythm, timing, and flow. Everything works in cycles, right? Cycles on cycles. So the cycle of your breath: inhale, expand the heart; exhale, contract; inhale, expand; exhale, contract. Don't stay relaxed and do that at least 3 minutes at a time every day. You'll start to move energy through the heart. You'll start to open the heart, and the heart and the brain will start to blend again. So there's many ways to do heart-brain coherence. And it's because the heart and the brain are coherent. They are part of the same system. It's just our programming, the social conditioning, all that severs the heart-brain connection. And when that happens, we were separated from spirit. That's our power source, right? It's like a baby being separated from their mom. They get scared, right? So when we lose that connection to who we are, spirit, we feel vulnerable, and then we're ripe for the pickings, and they know that, and they're doing that. So be aware of that. That seems to be the message of the day. Oh, so I have the Isis Oracle with me. So get for the person that's commenting on Horus, we'll see if Horus comes up. I'm going to say, that person may have left already. All right. So let's see. This is the card that they came up. Divine Guardian. No, it's not Horus. I think it's just a manifestation of Isis. Divine Guardian, protection of the winged mother. And I think it's just spiritual way of letting us know we are indeed protected, no matter what happens. And some people do, lose a lot, in these, whether they're geopolitical events like wars or solar or weather events. People do lose a lot, but you know what? You still have your heart, you still have your soul, you still have your spirit. Yeah. Anything else? And that you are protected, basically. And we very rarely get the worst case scenarios on anything. Just like this last solar storm, there's a huge input of solar energy, of cosmic frequency into the earth, but we didn't get this just because the interplanetary magnetic field just happened to have a positive rather than a negative tilt. We did not get major blackouts and internet outages. Let's see. I always like to do our totem animal also. And Cobra energy. Was there a Cobra in there? I missed that. So if I missed that, thanks for picking up on that. That's right. The mute and moving in front of you. Right. So don't be mesmerized by that. Don't be mesmerized by the parlor tricks too. That's for what people that want to program you will have these parlor tricks, make you feel like that they're spiritual and really manipulating energies. I mean, they are spiritual, but not necessarily in a positive way. So here we go. We got the ant. Ants are builders, right? They're community. Ants are very community. They have a system and whatever. We got an ant once before, not that long ago, and I forgot what it means. But I think it's about building. But let me see what the book says. Key 32. So that's a 5 in numerology. So that's about change, freedom. Yeah, these are meanings of the number 5. It's patience. That makes sense also. There's a species of army ants that are known to travel 100 miles. So that's a lot of patience. If you watch ants work, when I was a kid, I used to have an ant farm. That's about as close to ants as I want to get. But whatever the case, and you just watch how patient they are. They work very patiently. They kind of build their hills. They do things like that. And again, they function in community also. So that's a part of that. So heck, you're patient. The snow just picked up. All of a sudden, I'm not seeing too much out my window anymore. So that's sad. And there's usually a little poem that I like. So I'm going to read that. Then we'll go on to the next thing. Oh, tiny ant, your patience grows like the sands of time? Can they learn to be like you, or is it too sublime? Well, patience can be very sublime, right? Yeah, they have better poems, better little poems for other animals, but I think you get the idea. Ant medicine is the strategy of patience. Ant is a builder like beaver. All right, so I'm not crazy. Is it aggressive like badger, has stamina like elk, scrutiny like mouse, and giveaway like turkey. Well, Andons never gave me anything that I'm aware of, but maybe they do in nature. So anyway, that's the ant. Let me do one or two more. Then we can do a little we'll do some energy work and some healing, some prayer work to help people that are, having a hard time in the storm. A lot of people, again, with the ice storm, that's the worst because you lose power sometimes for weeks, and it's very, very cold. So we have to send them a lot of light, turn any freezing rain to sleet or rain or snow, that kind of a thing. And those that do have to go through that because there's higher forces at play. Some people have to go through that, that they're safe and protected, and that they get through it. So let's see. Yeah, I wanted to do Starseed Oracle. I have the Starseed Oracle deck with me. I want to do these cards today. Because a lot of us are starseed, and one of the things that's evolving and growing is that more and more being aware that we have extraterrestrial beings that are interacting with us, and have been for a very long time, for that matter. Anyway, so let's see what we have to say. Otter medicine is very good. I don't think so. I think just isolated power outages on this one for two reasons. One, it's not hugely windy. I mean, on Long Island might be, but Eastern Long Island might change to plain rain. I think a lot of freezing rain and sleet on the island. I think some people are going to have just a big old sleet storm. We get about 4 or 6 inches of snow. That could be around the city or the island, and then just get like inches of sleet on top of that, basically, which again is better than freezing rain. So I think most people in our area are going to keep their power, even if it verifies to 2 feet, which we could get up to 30 inches from this. I feel experiencing easily. So I think some areas, probably higher elevation than I, might even approach 40 inches. It's a big system, energized by the sun and perhaps by geoengineering. And also, that's a question mark in my mind. Personally, I feel like my guides are saying it's at least mostly natural, but at the same time, yes, they do indeed experiment with things. Interestingly, on that note, before I pull the card, there's some very odd features on the Schumann graphs from Tomsk right before, around, and a little bit after the solar flare activity. And it's possible, I don't know, it's possible those were HARP signatures, HARP, HAARP. It's artificial auroras. That's what HARP is, or part of it is. But I do believe they're able to generate changes in heat patterns in the upper atmosphere. And that's everything. In the upper atmosphere, the temperature is what drives the steering currents here on the surface. So if they know how to manipulate that and change temperature profiles in the upper atmosphere, they literally can steer storms. I mean, that's theoretically possible. I don't know if they have. It would take a lot of technology and a lot of energy to do that. I don't know if that part of it is real, but it can be. It can happen. And we've had a few instances in the last few years where there's unusual events in localized areas. This is widespread. And then we understand that the plan is to build smart cities. Well, a big storm or a big flood could save a lot of money by destroying the area they don't have to destroy to rebuild it. It's just a theory, though. you can believe it or not believe it, but stay in your heart. Don't get programmed by that. We're all community. We don't have to let the powers that be hive mind us and subconsciously get us to be part of a group, so to speak. I'm still seeing the sun card in my mind. So that's about happiness. It's about letting the light in, letting the spiritual light in. This physical sun expresses the light of the central sun. So it's sort of like a lens of spiritual energy, light code frequencies. And we just had a huge download and a huge upgrade. So it's clearing a lot of negative forces, but it's also giving us the opportunity to raise our consciousness. So do your meditation work the next few weeks, because the effects are months even. And then we have eclipse season starting in February. Then we come to the year of the fire horse on the solar eclipse on the next new moon. And we got the cosmic heart. So when we do heart-brain coherence and make our hearts coherent, we connect with the cosmic heart, right? And what it says here is devotion, potency, make your life a moving prayer. So that's the suggestion from our starseed friends. I'm just looking at your the sun card, happiest card in the deck. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks you guys for keeping the conversation going here. Some prayers for Ricky. I just did a reading this last week. I think it was last weekend actually, where a little boy came through in that reading. And then he showed, I think I picked up his name too, but he showed me his process of illness, before he passed on. And it's just a really moving reading because it's very inspirational in a way. So a lot of these children that they get ill and then cross over very young, they're really advanced souls that come to Earth to really teach us about compassion. So anyway, and then this is a bird, some kind of a bird on her shoulder. I think that's a bird or something. I love the artwork on this one. I forgot her name. Rebecca Campbell, is it? I have to look at the deck. The artwork is Danielle Noel. Rebecca Campbell, created the deck, the Starseed Oracle. So anyway, it's been on 102. All right. We get two more quick ones. This is a message from the angels, from courtesy of Kyle Gray, the 22 Angels Oracle of Kyle Gray, or Archangels Oracle. Let me just get that going. And we got Raziel, the inner workings. This is what the card looks like. Raziel. He looks pretty serious, this dude, even if he's an archangel. The inner workings. There are hidden truths below the surface. Dig deeper. There's hidden truths beneath the surface of airplanes, either spreading chemicals or contrails in the sky, of storms, of even geomagnetic storms, of politics, everything. There's inner workings going on. So our message has been to really go into the heart today, dig deeper, because that programming machine is kicking it up a notch. And I think we're going to see more of that as this week and the rest of the month moves forward. So that's a great message. And let's do what's the frequency, Kenneth? Just kidding, for the REM fans out there. I heard in one of their concerts they actually had Dan Rather, who the song is actually about, what the frequency, Kenneth, come on stage when they did that song. So this is the sacred geometry oracle. So that's what I have now going on. The snowflakes just got bigger, so we're starting to get into the meat of the snowstorm here in the Catskills. And when it's 7 degrees out, And to have pretty big snowflakes means there's some huge upper air dynamics at play here. Yeah, I know how to read the weather. Just sometimes just the size of the snowflakes or raindrops give you clues of what's going on above. And again, yeah, that the whole idea of getting 20 plus inches, that makes me feel it's more likely to verify now. So anyhow, what's the frequency canon? I'm kidding. Be this side. This is the card they drew me to. No, this one. This is the card they want me to take. Oh, I don't think we've gone Cosmic Flower for a while, right? Cosmic Flower. The frequency of Cosmic Flower activates our remembrance of the place we call home, the core from which we pour our magnificence out into the world, and we can find that by accessing the heart. The heart is sort of the inner pathway to divine source and spirit. You connect with the center of the universe, with the center of the earth, also, and that connects us with those fields. So, so you can get some of the energy just by sort of gazing in the center of this card. Oh, this is sweet. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Ricky did the work he had to do here. He's free now. It's sad, but he's free. 12:20 or so. Okay. Yeah. The rest of the day, I might shoot a short video. It takes me, to process it, maybe a half hour, to shoot it, to process it, to upload it. Other than that, I'm just gonna enjoy the vibration of the snow. It's very peaceful, it's very energizing, it's very healing and clearing also. So anyway, let's do some a little bit of energy work. Grab. Our heart is our portal. Yeah. Confirm my intuition. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Nice card. Yeah. And lots of prayers and loves to Colleen and her family and everything. Yeah. So you got a lot of good comments here. All right, so let's get nice and relaxed. Start to tune into our breathing for a moment. Excuse me. Inhale, exhale. As we're doing this, let's imagine that we're all together. We're just in this showing me blue, all right? So we're in this field of blue, like kind of crystal blue energy now. We're all together, and there's other beings of light that are working with us. And Spirit saying, I can just go into channel mode, I suppose. But I'll work this way for now. They're basically saying that, yes, we're indeed in the transition, and we're attracting more light beings, more interdimensional beings, and that there's from our perspective, very small beings, but they're very powerful, that sort of exists in ether. So they don't really exist in the physical, but sometimes they can manifest in the air. So you could get like the image of these little sparks of white light or blue light around you when they're around. And that they're just, that they're here just for this time right now. These few decades where we're in a lot of transition. So as we raise the frequencies, yes, we are working with Adam. We are the master teachers, and as he often explains, we're interdimensional. It's not like that we are speaking through him. We're speaking with him. We're blending with his energies and using his vehicle and our intentions to connect all in a meditation, and that way we can access the energy fields within you and around you and help to raise the frequencies. Not change the energy, just change the frequency of the energy. And a higher frequency is more energetic. It attracts more light, more higher results, perceptions, connections, all that. So just be open at the heart. Feel like as you inhale, you draw all the beautiful chi, prana, into your heart. Circulate that around, and exhale, just sort of release. Feel like it's releasing into the earth, through your root, through your earth star chakra, into the planet. Inhale all the beautiful love and light into your heart, circulating that around. Exhale, down through your chakras, through your root, through your feet, your earth star, into the Mother Earth herself. She transmutes and transforms those energies into light and love energy, into higher frequencies. You also are a frequency generator. We talk about we're raising the frequencies, and we are. But how about you? Whenever you even smile at somebody, you just raise the frequencies. You've created a higher vibrational resonance. Henia mano. We are the master teachers. We are the blue crystalline light, here to help you to ascend, to purify, to clear, cleanse, and to grow. Assisting in transmuting the negative to the positive, and taking advantage of the natural resonance of the year of the snake to transmute all the stuff you've been discussing about lower frequencies, about control and all that, can be transmuted into a different frequency, that is love and light, that is more connected to the higher being, to your own higher self and to source. So ride the blue flame, blue, indigo, violet, working with these higher chakra energies, yet remaining in your root and in your earth star and connected to Mother Earth. And as we tone, we work with your vibrational fields to help to clear, cleanse, and to open. Just allow these higher flows through you to scour out all stuck, cogged energies, things that are obstructing your energetic fields and therefore obstructing your life and health and well-being. Just let the energy just naturally do that. Your only job is to be open and receive and to transmit yourself. And as that's happening, allow the energy to be transmitted through the earth, through the vibrational fields of humanity and the other beings of planet Earth. And we will together send a lot of love, light, healing prayers to assist those who are going through a lot in their physical domains right now. You just feel like your heart's expanded and open, enveloping and enwrapping all of humanity within it. And we will assist with the frequency work. So hold that thought and vision. Yada Yana dositia pato deya su yon yada just feel relax. Your cells spreading out, letting more chi, prana, more energy through, cleansing, clearing, opening. Developing your heart around Mother Earth, sending lots of love and prayers. Cleansing, clearing, opening, creating channels of light through the planet, through the ley line, through the meridians of the energetic Earth, the higher dimensional Earth, as it were, through your own energetic portals. And just allow the energies now to settle into the Earth. Start to deepen your breathing. We offer prayers and loves to all beings. May all beings be happy and free as God's Spirit or Source intends or intended and will intend. Know that we are all times, all space, all beings, the Alpha and the Omega, and everything in between. That we are transmitters and generators as well as transmitters of frequency. And we choose to send the frequencies of light, love, healing out into the world. The energies of compassion to help those that need extra energy to deal with their lives at this time, which for most humans is quite challenging. And just start to feel the energies now just start to settle. Feel your roots extending deep into the earth now. From your heart, you can even do it from your crown or from above if you want. Letting the energies coming down to your center line, into the earth, but also forming roots from your root chakra through your legs, unless you're sitting cross-legged like me, then directly into the ground. And just in your mind, create golden roots deep into the earth to help nourish the earth further, to help her balance. She knows she has our support. And as you inhale, draw energy from the earth in and around your body. Exhale, release. Become more breaths like that. And then imagine at the base of your auric fields that a little tailpipe opens for any excess static energy from this transmission to drain out. The byproducts, the energetic byproducts, as it were, as your system. And I can feel, I know there's a lot of you, and I can feel the energies, even if you're watching later as a video, because there's no time and space in this realm. It's all now. And long story short, you guys did very well this morning with this work. So thank you. So start to deepen your breath when you're ready and open your eyes. And okay, so we lost the picture. So I guess this is my sign to say thank you, everybody. And I don't know what day, but we'll do a February psychic forecast sometime later this week. And we may have 1 or 2 other live streams. I might do a psychic night. I have to figure out my schedule. I may not be able to fit it until February, but if I can, I'll do it next week. If not, we'll do it after, and then you guys can come on and just ask questions, and I'll answer them as best I can. So anyway, love you guys. I'll see you at the next video. Namaste.